Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take the opportunity to welcome all of you to ESTEC 2009. I think the doors at the back are now closed and everybody should be coming through the first session. So I'm at ESTEC 2009 and I'm with Christin Lins, who is the Secretary General of EREC, the European Renewable Energy Council. And I know that you've been working on the 2020 targets for the EU. Could you just tell us a little bit about how they've come together and what support they have?
Well, with pleasure. In March 2007, the 27 heads of states have agreed to 20% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, 20% energy efficiency reduction, and they have agreed to a binding target of 20% renewable energy share in final energy consumption, all this to be reached by the year 2020. It's really outstanding because in the renewables area we have a whole track record of successful policies. We've started in the EU already back in the 90s, in 1997. However, all the commitments, they were of indicative nature. And now for the first time we have binding targets, so meaning that our 27 governments have really committed to have 1/5 of their final energy consumption coming from renewables by 2020.
Just take me through some of the elements and maybe some of the timings.
Well, effectively, in order to make this now happen, a kind of European legislative framework, the Renewables Directive, was put in place. This was just passed the European Parliament in December last year and was now recently, last month, agreed by the European Council and is now about to enter into force. And this directive, for the first time, will provide the framework on how to reach this final energy consumption target of 20%. It sets as a core part, it sets national targets, mandatory national targets, so they range from 10% for renewable energy share for Malta to 49% to Sweden. So it's really a big range. We are here in Germany, so it's 18% is the German target. And all these targets need to be reached by the governments. They've committed themselves to reach them by 2020. They now have to draw up national action plans. The Commission is now in the process of developing a template for these national action plans. And then the member states have to submit their strategies on how they consider to promote renewables in the field of electricity, heating and cooling and biofuels for transport from now to 2020. They have to submit those national action plans to the Commission until June 2010. So this is really an element which is crucial for us because we think that these national action plans will be tools providing policy stability and providing the adequate framework for investors, for money, private sector money to come into the market in order to make this really happen. And of course, this is something the industry is very interested in, and we have now set up a network of actors of national associations with whom we work together to developing national industry roadmaps until the end of this year. And these national industry roadmaps will be then the tools with which the national actors can go and lobby their governments to really make sure that their interests are adequately represented in the national action plans.
And how do you think it's going to affect the solar thermal industry in particular?
Well, this Renewables Directive is for the first time closing the gap in legislation. We had so far legislation in the field of renewables electricity, in biofuels for transport, but we did not have anything on heating. We know that 49%, so nearly half of the final energy consumption of the EU, goes into the heating sector, and there is a huge untapped potential for renewables in that sector, solar thermal, biomass, geothermal energy. And we are very confident that solar thermal will play there quite a key role of delivering this renewable heating share by 2020. Our estimate is that roughly 25% of the final heat demand could be covered with renewable energy sources from now to 2020.
Okay. And from the industry perspective, do you think industry, as it currently set up, can contribute to the new targets?
Well, effectively, I think those targets, they are challenging. They're absolutely feasible. We have done some homework and we have done some estimates also back with our member associations and with ESTIF to see what this really means. We have right at the moment 450,000 people employed in the renewables industry currently in Europe. This number is subject to increase to around 2 million by 2020. The industry is committed to delivering this. I think it will provide fantastic business opportunities. We have today an industry with an annual turnover in Europe of 45 billion euros. The annual turnover of the renewables industry is 120 billion US dollars. So if you compare the two, I would say 45 billion euros is about 60 billion US dollars. So half of the global turnover is based in Europe, which is just reflecting that European companies are really the key market players. And with this policy framework in place, they should be able to not only develop their home markets, but then also, of course, develop and keep and further develop quite important positions on the world market.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.